This is the second time I need to record this because I forgot to unmute my microphone the first time. But I was not intending to make a video on this, but because this is just so laughable, I decided to at least put something out because it has been a while since I made a video on Phil. And I promise this one will be short. So for those not in the know, Phil decided that he was going to put a suggestion box post up. He's basically just a comment thread in his community page on YouTube where people can leave comments giving him suggestions on what to do, so he doesn't have to bother reading everything on stream, and he doesn't get like conflicting evidence from his viewers and from, like, I guess the LARPers as well. And this is also, like everything else he does, is going to be heavily moderated. He's going to have to approve the comments manually because he can't allow people to just say whatever they want here. No, that'd be terrible. So we're going to go read through this and just critique it very briefly, I hope. Hello everyone, this post is the official suggestion box thread for October 2023, so he's going to have more of these once a month, apparently. I doubt they're going to last that long. He might just nix it after this month if he gets like that much hate on this one. This thread can be used to post up constructive suggestions and criticism for improvement of the channel. This can include new features of the channel from, he wants to say for the channel, games to play, marathons, and projects for the future, suggested hardware upgrades and tips for improvement, and more. Okay, first off, I hate the fact that he uses the phrase post up because nobody uses that phrase anymore. The and more doesn't really, like, he already pretty much encompassed everything that he wants in the first 5 points, which is fine. Like, that's generally okay. It's just weird that he's doing this to his community, to his viewers, who are really not the most well-versed in this kind of thing. So let's go through this list one by one and see why he wants these things and what exactly he's looking for. And then we'll go into the big body paragraph of this because that's basically just a pre-stream in and of itself. New features for the channel. He should really have some peers to discuss things with. He doesn't though. Because new features are things that you pretty much either discover yourself or talk about with other content creators. Like, I don't have that many content creator friends, but even the ones that I do, I will run ideas by them to see if they'll work or not. Or I'll give them suggestions for what they could do. Because content creators talk to other content creators and they're always trying to think of other content to do. The viewers are not responsible for that. They can help suggest things that you've already discovered, like, or discuss something that you want to do, and you're debating between, hey, should I do this kind of thing or should I do that kind of thing? Like, that's what the viewers are there for. That's what the community is there for. They're not there to come up with the ideas for you. You're supposed to come up with the ideas yourself. But of course he can't do that, so he asks the viewers to come up with ideas for him. Games to play. This one, I feel, should be self-explanatory why it's a bad suggestion to begin with. Because you, as the streamer, to know what you want your streams to be about. If you're a gameplay streamer, what kind of games you want to focus on, or what kind of genres you want to try out, or if something catches your eye that just came out, then maybe play that. That's what games you should come up with your own games that you want to play. And again, maybe ask people what they want out of things that you have already decided that you might want to do, and then they can help decide in order. But he just wants ideas for, like, what games to play in general, and he's going to shut down most of them. He shut down Baldur's Gate for months because he knows he can't play CRPGs on the channel because they make him look stupid. It's not because they don't perform well on the channel. They perform well enough. Like, Divinity Original Sin 2 did well enough in terms of, like, contributions and stuff like that. It just made him look like an idiot. And by the end of it, people got sick of watching him be an idiot. So he dropped it, and he just does not want to do any CRPGs anymore. Like, that's the only reason why he won't play Baldur's Gate 3, even though he could have a good experience with it if he actually just sucked it up and admitted his faults. And even then, he's going to ignore most indie suggestions to begin with, because unless they have a lot of hype behind them or a big marketing push behind a game, he's not going to play it. He barely plays anything like that anyway. The most recent thing that I can think of that he has played that does not have a lot of marketing hype behind it, and that was not a retro game, is Signalis, and that was months ago. And I think that was just a viewer suggestion, and he decided to go through with it because it was short. Everything else has just been like something that has a lot of marketing behind it and a lot of hype behind it, which he just goes through on a conveyor belt system. He doesn't even care about what things he's playing. He just cares about what kind of money they can bring him, which is why he's such a hype beast and only plays things with a very, very large marketing push behind it. Marathons and projects for the future, that goes back into new features for the channel. These are things that he should be consulting other content creators with, but of course he has nobody to consult anybody with because he's just that reprehensible. Like, I talk to my content creator friends all the time about different things like that they could be doing or the things that I could be doing. Like, there are different things that we work on that work for our specific kinds of content that we can create. I've had people join my streams for collabs that are just like award shows or like different things, like just lists of things that are odd enough that fit into both of our audiences, like in our audience's wants and needs. He should know his audience well enough to figure out what works for his channel like this in general. For example, he could do a marathon on LTG. He's not going to. He's not going to do a reactathon to LTG because he knows LTG is going to like blast his ass to the next Sunday if he does that. He might even try strike him for that too, because LTG is very, very strike happy. It's not going to happen. Suggested hardware upgrades. He's never going to follow through on this. We know he's never going to follow through on this because every piece of hardware that he has been given, with the exception of the $300 fight stick he got instead of his cat's blood work. Justice for Jasper, by the way. Get that cat his fucking blood work so you know what the hell's wrong with him, if there's anything wrong with him, and you can get it fixed. He's not going to follow through on any of this. Like, he got the fight stick for himself, but every other piece of hardware that he's gotten has been gifted to him by somebody else. He just accepts it, like, without really questioning it. He's still running a PC off of Windows 8.1. He's not going to upgrade his hardware, or if he does upgrade his hardware, he's going to make it his viewer's responsibility to pay for it, even though he could write off as a business expense. He could easily buy a new PC if he wanted to and run games off of that, but he's not going to. And if he does, he's just going to brick the fucking thing within a month because he doesn't know how to do anything on the PC. He can barely do anything on his PC right now and is collecting dust as we speak. He believes if he opens it to clean it, then that will brick it. I'm surprised it's not bricked already. But he's never going to get out of the hardware unless it's like another $10 noisemaker to replace the ones that he broke. And then tips for improvements. There really isn't much to say about this one, and I actually am going to produce a video series on a lot of things that he does wrong as a streamer and compare it to a lot of things that other streamers, small and large, do correctly. That's currently in the works. I had to figure out what I want to do with that. I had to figure out if I want to interview other streamers about what they do in terms of scheduling, in terms of research, or in terms of any sort of prep work that they do for the average stream, especially if they're a full-time content creator like he supposedly is, just to see what he is doing wrong and what they are doing right. Because a lot of content creators are doing a lot of things right and he is not one of them. But of course, he's never going to listen to me. He's never going to listen to anybody that actually comes in with honest criticism on how to improve his channel. Okay, so we got through that list then. Let's look at the body of the post. Currently, I don't know why it's in all caps. He just does random capitalization for God knows what reason. I'm looking for suggestions for a merchandise store / online business that will consider actually selling merch for my channel. A fair request, but he should also be looking into these merch options himself. He could also probably sell the merch himself through something like Shopify. He just has to find a manufacturer for the things that he wants to buy, or just make things like piecemeal, like on demand. Like if somebody buys a shirt, then he has a shirt made and then sells it. Because he doesn't really have that many people that want to buy things from him. That's the thing. And this is just the whole Teespring thing is just kind of weird because he doesn't have that many people that want to buy things from him. He doesn't have many people that wanted to buy things from him to begin with, even when he was more popular. People just didn't buy things. This is why they had like 400 Project 7 shirts back in the day that they couldn't get rid of. Anyway, let's get back to reading this. I was with Teespring/Spring from 2017 to 2021. They even recruited me and designed merch for me. Until they abruptly closed my store without a warning or a way to reopen it. I was later clued in that my hater base had sent them hundreds of complaint emails showcasing out-of-context videos and comments I'd made from over 10 years ago in a way to slander me and get me thrown off the site. This never happened. For starters, if they actually found somebody who told him this, like that person is then liable for legal action. You're not allowed to say anything like this about why somebody's terminated like this. Most times when you sign a contract with these businesses for anything, with Spring or Teespring or whatever the hell you want to call it, there's a clause that says they can terminate the contract with any reason or no reason at all. And in this case, the suggested reason by Aquateal, and the one that I believe the most, is the fact that he just wasn't selling anything on them. He just was not selling anything. That's it. And if you're just taking up space on the site, they're gonna clear your account out because you're not making the money. Like that's just the simple fact of it. Them booting him from their site because he didn't make the money is the most reasonable suggestion for why he got it, for why he was kicked out. Anything else does not make any sense. And yeah, the hundreds of complaint emails. There are not that many detractors who would actually go to these links. There really aren't. There are maybe like a dozen. And even then, they might not bother spraying. Like, it really isn't that many people who would actually want to do this. And the people that do want to do this are lazy about it. They're not gonna do it. They might talk about wanting to do it, but they might not do it in most cases. For the most part, they just don't. They just talk about wanting to do it. And there might be like one or two people who actually go through with it. There are still some people who report him every day on YouTube, but it's not hundreds and hundreds of detractors. Most of us are just, you know, watching the fucking clown do his dance for the circus. That's about it. And the out of context part, no, the context is there. It doesn't matter what the full context is. The actual jokes or whatever that he was saying from that long ago were that bad. They were anti-Semitic, they were racist, they were sexist, they were offensive. And even then, he's just a brand, like, he is a, I don't know what the word is, I have to figure it out. Like, he's a brand risk. He's a brand risk for any company. Doesn't matter if they're like woke or broke or if they're like based in red pills or whatever the fuck you want to call it, he is a brand risk. And nobody wants to deal with a brand risk. That's another reason why they could get rid of him if it wasn't because he wasn't selling anything. So yeah, like even then, like they wouldn't have told him that. And if they did tell him that, it wasn't that many people. And again, those clips didn't need to have context. They're just things he said. The context is he said those things. Doesn't matter anything else around it. Anyway, therefore, I am looking to do business with a company that will not simply take the knee to an online hate mob. Otherwise, there'd be no reason to waste anyone's time. Basically, he's looking for somebody to just do business with him sight unseen without realizing that he's a brand risk. But even then, like, he's actually told us that in a lot of dealings with companies, he tells them himself that he's a brand risk. He says, by the way, you're going to get bombarded by my haters if like they catch wind that you're doing business with me. Like, who the fuck says that? Like, there have been some high-profile VTubers who have done some heinous shit, like really, really bad things, and they still have brand deals with a bunch of companies because they didn't go around telling people, hey, I'm a brand risk. That's pinning a fucking target on your back, and nobody wants to deal with that shit. You're basically bragging to people that you're hated. Even if it's not a brag, it's kind of a brag, and it's really weird. Once a month, during the Level 1 podcast, likely either at the very end or beginning of the next month, what is this we shit? We'll review all of the suggestions here together live on stream. You don't need to do that. You could just say, I looked through the suggestion box and here's what, and like, I'm going to implement this, that, and the other thing. What he's going to do is he's going to like have a piece of paper written in like crayon that has all the suggestions that people made that he wants to follow or that he thinks are reasonable to follow, or suggestions that people made that are unreasonable, so he can make fun of them because he's petty like that. And he'll say, like, what are you talking about? Why do you think I need to do this? Like, he will do that. Mark my words, he will do that come like Mischief Day or whatever the fuck it's called anymore. He will do that. And then, yeah, thanks and have fun. Have fun doing what? You're putting complaints in the complaint box. Note, anyone found to be trolling / being deconstructive will be moderated just as if you had said the same thing in a stream or a comment on a video. Okay. This is actually why I wanted to make the video, because deconstructive is not a fucking word. It's destructive. this is not a deconstruction of a DSP stream. If you want a deconstruction of a DSP stream, go fucking watch Ludwig's video on eating pot noodle. That's a deconstruction of a DSP video of him eating the cup noodle, actually. Go watch that. Or go watch Jay doing things at his AVGN parody with DSP in it. That's a deconstruction. This is not, like, deconstructive does not mean anything here. You just mean destructive. Or, like, I don't know, abrasive. There are other words that you could use instead of making one out to make yourself sound smart. And yeah, you will be moderating. I mean, he's just gonna fucking like toss the comment in the bin. That's all he's going to do. He's gonna toss the comment in the bin, ignore anything they had to say, and that'll be the end of it. And he'll probably be banned for the channel as well. Apparently, I think I've been muted from commenting on his channel. He hasn't banned me outright, but if he has, I don't know about it because I can still make comments on his video. They still go to his comment box. Still, like, this is just not a lot of things that you would want to do, and it's just a lot of long-winded complaining about something that doesn't really affect your audience. Like, you getting kicked off of a merch store doesn't really affect anybody because you weren't selling merch there to begin with. Nobody was buying your shit, and you had the same designs on that site for the past, I don't know, 8 years? Like, you had not updated or made a store refresh in that amount of time. No wonder they kicked you off. Like, there was no reason to keep you there because you weren't doing them any business. And you weren't, like, monitoring the shop. You weren't minding it. You weren't coming up with new merchandise to sell. You weren't coming up with new designs. You just had what was on there and thought, hey, that's good enough. And a lot of the stuff that was on there was just actually really bad, which is why nobody bought it to begin with, aside from the fact that he had no fans to buy it anyway. This is just, like, this whole suggestion box thing just reeks of the idea that he can't come up with anything himself. He doesn't have any friends in the industry that can help him come up with ideas, because it's fine if you don't know what you want to do, but you should have friends within the industry that can help you with what you want to do. Like, and he just wants his fans to do all the work for him and then take credit for it. That's what this is about. Currently, we have no comments on this page at all. We have none. I think that's because he has to go through the approval process to actually like make the comments visible on here, because everything on this channel is based on an approval process. You cannot see a comment on his channel or in any of his videos without it being approved by him, because he just doesn't want criticism to be like seen on the videos. Like, he just can't handle it. But we do see that the post already has 26 likes, which is fine, I guess. For a channel of his size and for something like this, it should have more than that. It also should have open comments so that people can see what other people are saying. The only thing close to that, we're gonna scroll down just a little bit, is what is it? I had to find it here. Also, that image is fucking atrocious. Let's see. October. Yeah, here we go. The open thread for his Halloween marathon, which the games have to be digital. The games have to be digital and legitimate. They cannot be, is his words, a lengthy RPG, which just means any game that's longer than 40 hours. They can't be anything that he's done recently, and they do not have to be horror themed, even though this is a horror themed event, which is just the weirdest fucking thing. And I have looked at some of the suggestions that people have made. He's more than likely going to play Little Nightmares 2. That's a given, because Little Nightmares 2 has like 8 suggestions. This is still just not a really good system to doing things. He should have like a poll up for things that he has already decided he wants to play, and pick like these 4 games are going to be played out of the 6 or 8 that I have made a poll to suggest, and that's what he should have been doing. But yeah, this post is just, I can already tell this post is going to get flooded with detractor comments, even with the ones that are like seem legitimate. It's going to be a bunch of LARPers in this post, giving him really, really dumb and bad suggestions, which I'm all for, but I do not see him actually keeping the suggestion box idea going for very, very long. He might do it like for October and December and maybe January, and then he'll stop doing it because it got flooded with trolls. That's the only conclusion I could think of when it comes to this idea. It's going to get flooded with troll suggestions, and it's going to be too much trouble than it's worth to keep it open. So he's just going to drop it. And again, with this whole thing, like, do the work for me, I don't really think any of his viewers actually know what they can suggest to him that he will not just immediately shut down, because he does this all the time in shutting down things. He did this with like people telling him about his mini PC, especially with Lavinia. I'm not going to go show those clips, but it really is just that he's pretty much presenting an excuse to yell at people for being wrong and dumb in his mind. But that's all I really wanted to say about this. I just felt that this was just too good of an opportunity to pass up on the fucking suggestion box thing. And I'm going to leave you with what I think is going to happen within like a couple months' time.
Like, I mean, you can leave a complaint in the complaint box, but I'll check that shit!
Have a good night, everybody.
Okay, but this is just divine. Exquisite.